You guys, today we got to interview with Ariel and Zach. They are originally from Memphis, actually went to school with Steven, well, Ariel did, and they chose to move not across the country, but across the world. But here's more about them, Zach and Ariel, as business people, as parents, but most importantly, as a couple who feverishly chase what Christ is calling them to do. Check it out.
Perfect.
Welcome to the Mizell Show.
An inspiration for a new generation.
Hi, I'm Alana Mizell, a loving mother of two, a devoted wife to Steven, and an entrepreneur helping women realize their dreams and potential.
And I'm Steven Mizell, caring father of two, a devoted husband to Alana, and a driving force to help young men prepare for life after college football.
And if that wasn't enough, we're a biracial couple.
She was raised in the North, but I was raised in the South.
The only thing normal about our lives, who am I kidding? It's never normal around here. Join us for the Mizell Show.
Right now. Appreciate you guys for hopping on and listening to the show, and thanks to Mark Zuckerberg for getting us reconnected from so many years ago. So we thank you guys.
I know.
That's so fun. Steve was telling me about that. So you guys went to high school together, right?
Yes, long.
And
can't show my age.
and then-
Yeah,
Like last year.
yeah, no, that was not last year.
how about like 20 something years?
Yes, 20 something years ago. But yeah, on our show, we just really like to have authentic conversations, and we're drawn towards couples. We're drawn towards things that you guys are doing at home and in your career. And I told Alana about you. She's like, we need to get her on the podcast. And I'm like, okay, let me ask her to see if we can fit her in the schedule. So we appreciate you guys hopping on. But I think just to get things started, I just want to ask both of you guys, where are you right now in the world, and how did you get there? I think it's the coolest part of the story, just kicking it off.
It's very interesting that you say that. And Steve, that's why I have mentioned, my husband, because he's ultimately the reason why we're even here. So if you want to maybe share your bit on
Please do.
what brought us here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think basically it started long before we got here, of course.
Okay, yeah.
And I always knew I wanted, when I had a family, I wanted to be somewhere where we all could be at one place at one time, and we all could work and go to school and be a regular living family. Because I've been in the contracting world before, and some environments, you can't raise a family there. So I figured the next time I had a chance to contract overseas, I like being abroad, and I was like, I would like raising a family abroad. I think it could be, it's doable. So
So
fast
when you
forward
say
to now.
when you say contract, what do you mean by that?
Yes, give us a breakdown. What exactly do you do?
Yeah.
Military contract work. So I'm a civilian, and I get contracted to work with their military.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
With the country that you're in's military, or an outsource from the United States?
Yeah, so obviously, the country that I'm in now. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
But prior to that, it was I could contract with the U.S. military, and then I would work abroad in Iraq or Afghanistan, Kuwait, other places like that. But those are not places that are friendly for families, in my eyes.
Yes.
Right.
I'm
gonna agree. You're like,
no,
ain't happening. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
very cool. So what exactly do you do? Are you even allowed to tell us what you actually do?
We think of like Jack
D14
Ryan.
classified.
Exactly.
Right.
it's aviation.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Awesome.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Very
We'll
cool.
leave it at that. I think that's great. So
Don't get yourself in trouble because we asked the question.
Yeah.
no, that's definitely great. So when you said you wanted to go abroad and you wanted to start a family, so how did all this come together?
So honestly, her grandmother, we call her Granny. I had told her my vision long before now, and I was like, it's easier for me to see, since I've been working abroad, that the things that they need and that the ability that we have to give them. So for a small group of us, we can see that. And that's why we work abroad. So once I had this opportunity, I also told her grandmother that I think she would advance way faster here than she would in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She being
Because she's
not Granny.
Not Granny. Yeah. No.
I'm just making sure.
of course.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, Granny could do what
Granny
Granny
could be
wants
doing.
to
Yeah,
do.
Granny could be. But
Never know. Granny could be a hustler.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah,
know.
she is a hustler.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
She's praying. I mean, she's our prayer warrior. So I must say that it's her prayers, that brought us here. Because I mean, I must be honest. When he initially told me, like, "Hey, babe, I have this position." We had just given birth to our youngest son. Literally a month prior to him obtaining the opportunity here, and we pray and we're steadfast and everything. But when he told me, I was like, no. I mean, I was doing great in my career, in the States, and I just knew that that's where we would always be. We had purchased our dream home. We were settled. And there again, my grandmother, we prayed, and she said, listen, I think you should go ahead and take this leap of faith. And follow your husband to the other side of the world and see what happens. And I mean, I must say that God has blessed us tremendously, and it was by far the best decision that I've made thus far, I must say.
Wow.
No, wow.
Okay. So we still haven't said, where are you guys?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Although I know.
Well, let's see if you know. Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
You know where Abu Dhabi is? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So I've always wanted to go to Abu Dhabi.
Yes, she does. That's one of her spots.
It's on my list.
It's on her list.
And
Come on.
it's especially on my list. You guys are going to die laughing because of Sex and the City, the movie. They go to Abu Dhabi.
Of course, that's where we as Americans see it as. But I think it's so cool because you guys live there, and just like every city, you have like people. Oh, I love Memphis, and I go to this certain spot. Like, yeah, but people in Memphis never go there. And you guys are like in Abu Dhabi. We see it from a movie perspective.
Yeah.
And so I want to rewind right quick. How important was it for you to go to Granny first before you had a conversation with your wife? And I think that shows a lot. And a lot of times in marriages and relationships, we forget about those support systems and we don't even talk to them. We just tell them on the back end. So why did Granny come up first for you?
So me and Granny, we always are sharing scriptures, stories, everything. She always goes, you know something about everything, Zach. And we always laugh and joke. So this time I had something to give with her because I've been praying about this. I got in aviation in 2008. So I contracted my first contract in 2010, 2011. So I've been doing it for a while. So after those few opportunities, I had started praying about it. This was before I had a family, a wife, and children. That whenever I had the opportunity, I wanted to do this and I wanted to do that. And I told a few of my friends that I grew up with that I wanted to go to this place. They know Dubai, and I would tell them Dubai. So they was like, oh, no way. So once I got the opportunity, I told Granny, and of course she was like, Zach, if you think this opportunity would advance you and the family, go for it. And she was like, we'll just pray about Ariel and the kids.
She'll come on
So
board.
basically he knew that Granny was gonna kind of make me
Right.
do it.
Right. I love it.
That is awesome.
So at that time, when you guys were in the United States, were you working with your current company? And you just had to figure out, okay, what am I? No? Okay. So walk us through, Ariel, kind of your path of.
He dropped the bombshell on you.
Drop the bomb. You have a 1 month old. You've got a 1 month old.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, we're going to move across the country.
World.
I panicked.
World.
I mean, I must be honest. I completely panicked. And then what got me was he's like, sell the house, sell the car, sell everything. We're moving. And I was like, no, wait a minute. What about everything that we have here?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, as you rightfully mentioned, we had a very strong support system in Memphis. Both of our families were very hands-on with our children. And so to relocate to another part of the world where we didn't know a single soul, we had to figure life out on our own when we moved here. And so it was quite the journey. I mean, even from settling into the country, I mean, here most people have nannies. So when we originally moved, we didn't have a nanny. So it was just us. We're trying to maintain a newborn pretty much. And then our eldest son, he was 3 at the time. So just trying to juggle sleep patterns. And I mean, I'm glad it's over.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, you're about to have PTSD talking about it.
Yeah.
So sorry. We're not going back because I don't want to deal with it. That's awesome. So you weren't working where you are now. So you also had to quit your job, or were you not working at the time?
I resigned. So I was with AT&T. I had joined AT&T and I was in the global sales organization, doing very well. I mean, I always thought that I was going to retire from there. I had no intentions on ever leaving because, I mean, it was an amazing company. And so that was by far the toughest decision I ever had to make when I did put in my resignation, because the company had indebted me with so many valuable opportunities, as well as with regards to my education. They supported me in obtaining my MBA and everything. So it was just like, okay, now it's time to leave. Like, no.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I prayed there again, and that wasn't solely, you know, based on Granny's persuasion, but it was a lot of, I mean, generous prayer, you know, that I had to go into to ensure that I was following in line with the will of God and what he would have me to do as a wife in order to support Zach on this journey.
I love that.
No, I think that is beautiful.
I love it. I love it. It sounds like we need to interview Granny next.
Yeah.
Granny may be putting in some prayers for our life too, okay?
No, but
yes, she will.
I love it.
No, that's
hey, we're closer too. It's fine. We'll just go swing by our house.
Yeah, exactly. And so when we talk about decision makings and we talk about being the head of the household, it's easy to say, you know, you guys have come so far now. But Zach, my question to you is, was there any point during the transition did you have quote unquote buyer's remorse? And you're like, man, is this the right thing? My wife is stressing out. I'm losing my house, my car,
I got a 1-month-old and a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Did you have buyer's remorse? And then if you did, how did you work through that?
Okay. I'm very strong in my faith and in my decision making.
Yes, he is.
So,
Love it.
I say that only because there was a few times, and that's because there were actual moments where it was, where I was really the buyer. So I was either buying a plane ticket.
Right. Like actually spending the money. Right.
Yeah, I was buying a plane ticket for 3.
But it wasn't just a plane ticket.
Yeah.
I was still nursing at the time. So I was like, hey, we have to fly business class, and flying business class, they don't give the children, of course, a seat. So we had to buy 3 business class seats each time we traveled. So he was like, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah. This was not part of our plan. Granny didn't tell you could do that.
Granny just said we need to get there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How. So next time I'll be a little more specific when I say how we need to get there.
I love it. I love it. So as soon as you felt that God was tugging you there, you were like, that's it. Let's go.
Yeah, I was, because I knew that if I had the opportunity to provide and everything would be at peace in the family and the house, then she would have an opportunity to flourish all the education, the skills that AT&T that had already instilled in her over here.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, if you understand, over here, it's groundbreaking for women in business.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a vast opportunity for her to, you know, set a playing field.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like if I could throw the Chris Paul lob to Blake Griffin,
Exactly.
Yeah.
you know, we can slam dunk.
There you go.
No, I love that.
I'm for that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Too.
So over there, and this may be a super naive question, what does diversity look like then? You just mentioned how, you know, Ariel kind of had the upper hand because she's a female in business, had all these years of experience. Well, what does it look like? Because she's not only a female, she's a Black female.
Yeah.
Like, is
Well,
it as prominent? Like, you guys know the United States, a Black female in
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
totally
I don't know.
agree.
There's no other words.
But listen, that's a great question because, like you said, you are naive. But honestly, when you cross the abroad and you come over to any different country, everything is American.
Yeah, I mean,
Everything is American. So
Okay, what do you mean by that?
so it isn't a race.
it isn't a
So they
black.
don't look at you
yeah,
as
or
a
white.
black or a white,
Yeah.
American. It's just like, oh no, they're American.
Your
So
passport says
yeah.
American, and that's what they're gonna label you as.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So you'll say
Okay.
Indians, Pakistanis, Iraqis,
Yeah.
Emiratis.
American.
Yeah,
Europeans.
Yeah.
Okay,
you're
so-
American.
So what does that mean? Like, is there, like, what does it mean there to be American? Like,
And in
I
the
know
business
if you're in France, they're like, American.
I think there is a huge advantage in being an American, particularly here. And it's funny you asked. I mean, my line of work every day is diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Mhm.
So it's a topic that I enjoy speaking about. But when you ask that question, it really comes to a sense of, I would say maybe like a societal ranking almost. In this
Okay.
part of the world, it's like, okay, here, of course, your Emiratis, which is your nationalized
Mhm.
community, they of course are at the top. They have most of the benefits of the country, but then I would say next would of course be like Australians, Europeans, Americans, and it's just all an even playing field. So when you go into a multinational organization here, I do believe you bring a different set of skills coming from a more westernized country. And then you also challenge the organization to essentially grow even more based on bringing those up who are around you. So it's quite interesting to see. But then you also ask, in this part of the world, I would say predominantly it's Indian. Here, it's a very large Indian population. And so it's very interesting to see the majority, minority segment. It's different, it's differentiated.
Did you know that I sell makeup? Not only do I sell makeup, but the makeup that I sell is 3D makeup, which allows you to highlight and contour your face in a super simple compact. As a mom, I could not survive without my simplified routine. Not only that, but it's exactly what you need. Exactly when you need it, all in one spot. Go ahead and check out Alana Mizell on Instagram or alanamizell.com to learn more.
So I have a
That's so
question.
cool.
I have a question for you that we struggle with this, and I think a lot of young and up and coming professionals also struggle with this. You go back to your AT&T and they gave you so much, and they gave you education, they gave you a great platform. What advice would you give the people that are afraid to take a step out because of loyalty? So many people feel like, oh, I can't leave them because they gave me my first job or they gave me this.
Right.
But you got to take care of yourself. And I know that was something you struggled with. So what advice would you give somebody that's like struggling with, oh, I can go apply for this job, but they gave me my start. So what are your thoughts?
That was my exact conversation too. I mean, I was in tears, except I wasn't smiling. Then I was like booing, like, what is going on? I don't want to go anywhere. But I mean, you have to. I didn't share this, but even after we came here, 6 months in, I was coming back to the States just because I was like, oh, I missed my job at AT&T. And that's when God really showed me like, no, this is where you need to be. And I mean, the opportunities, literally, I was on the flight. Actually, we landed in Memphis and I got a job offer as soon as I landed in Memphis. And I was like, oh, come on. And I just told them, well, it's time to go back. And we've been settled,
So you
ever
got a
since.
job offer back in Dubai.
Yeah. As soon as I landed in Memphis.
God said, joke's on you.
Yeah.
Joke's
I
on
was
you.
the buyer. I told you I was the buyer.
There you go.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
I was the buyer.
Yes.
You were the buyer.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, but definitely step out. The loyalty aspect. I mean, and one thing that I was most grateful for the entire leadership team at AT&T, once they heard about the opportunity that Zach had, they were like, "Are you crazy? You need to
Right.
go! Like, what are you
Get out of here!"
Yeah.
That's awesome. That also just speaks volumes of the company. I think so many times there are companies that aren't run in a like ethical manner, and they're more like, "How are you leaving me now?" Whereas you're talking about an ethical company in AT&T that's like, "Great, I groomed you, I grew you, now
Yes.
go." Which I
Absolutely.
think is also a so much biblical reference. God calls us to go and make disciples of all nations. So if a company's not doing that, then why are we there? Kind of thing. That kind of that mind game of maybe it's the reason we were there in the first place, kind of thing.
Right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what now? Are we staying in Dubai under contract? What does that look like?
We both are fortunate to have positions where we can stay as long as we like. So we often talk about, okay, are we going to make 10 years out of this or 20 years? I mean, we honestly don't know. And ultimately, raising our boys here, it's an experience by far that we would not, I believe, be able to give them stateside just based on the global landscape and what they're exposed to. For sure, we would want them to stay here until perhaps high school or even graduation.
You're like looking at him like, is that change yet?
Yeah.
I love
but
it.
I'm all for them coming back to the States, of course, for university or whatever, their dreams may be. So, yeah.
That's
so
cool.
Question for you. I know you guys, this is a naive question. I'm sure you keep up with what's going on stateside, and you're raising two, African-American males. And with everything going on, do you get the questions from your older son about like, hey, why do they, I hate to say it, why do they act like that over there? Or like he doesn't experience what some of our young males experience over in Dubai. So how are you able to pour into your sons to help them see what's happening in America? And then also they don't see it every day. So how does that work, Zach?
It is different. It is different.
Yeah.
Because everything that I was taught as a child is nothing that they are going to be taught as a child. And not saying because it was bad, it's because the situation is totally different.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. They grew up in Abu Dhabi, UAE.
Right.
Yeah.
So
what?
we talk about it because, of course, we have to tell them who's the president and, who's running the Senate House and who's representing Tennessee. We talk politics with them. So in that time, we're looking at CNN. Of course, things are going to come on, and then we have the questions.
Yeah.
Well,
a lot of questions.
A lot of questions.
Yes, because see, over here it's totally different because we don't engage with the
politics or the police.
With the armed forces like that.
Okay.
They have speed cameras. They have intelligence over here, so they kind of have you under the big brother eye over here at all times, which is fine because if it has to come to what it's coming to there, then I'd rather be under the eye. Everyone's under the eye.
Absolutely.
So you can't really get away.
Yeah.
So when they see that, I have to tell them, we're African Americans. Yep, that's a police. And we have to have these talks. And it's the normal talks. Hey man, if you get pulled over by the police, have your license, have your registration, have it in hand. Normal checks.
Yeah, normal checks.
Right.
I pull you over? No, sir. I'm fine. Whatever you do, write your ticket. I'll see you in the courtroom Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
And drive off. Don't talk back, have respect because I want you to have respect, not only for an officer, but some guy that may need help one day from you. Anyone, have respect. So yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. It's the normal general things as being a person and being a man one day.
I love that.
And then I would also maybe add a bit to that because remember he was asking like, should he be afraid of the police?
Oh,
and and so that kind of struck us because we didn't know what type of conversation to really have with him about it. Of course, he was seeing, this on CNN, and he's like, well, are all police this way? And even my brother, I have a brother who was on the force, and he's like, well, does Uncle Justin do this to people? And we were like,
Yeah. That's a very
Yeah. Wow.
So-
That's a heavy. Now, how old is he now?
Princeton is 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's the
Okay.
age.
A
Yes,
7
he's
and a
probably
4-year-old.
Yeah, 7 and 4 now.
Yeah, so
Okay.
they're both kind of on the same wave path. If the 4-year-old see the 7-year-old, then he kind of like,
Yeah, what's that,
yeah,
Dad?
he wants
Right.
to know too. So
Yeah.
it's a conversation that I have to have with both of them, and
Mm-hmm.
it's normal. I say that, but they have to be prepared if we ever move back.
Yeah.
yes.
Right. And I think it's important for our listeners to realize that what you're saying is normal in Black culture. Like the fact that you even have to have that conversation.
Yeah.
We have a lot of
Yeah.
listeners that are Caucasian, and they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I never had that conversation with my parents. I never had to
Yeah,
think
yeah.
about, if I get pulled over, anything. And that's not,
Yeah.
no matter where they are. Like, I may have to think more about that across the world, more so than Stephen might when we get across the world, just because I'm a female in a patriarchy society.
Yeah.
But I think that so many people just forget, not people, Stephen sometimes forgets, oh, right, just because I grew up having that conversation
Doesn't mean everybody
Yeah.
else.
and doesn't mean you
Yeah.
should have to have
Have the
that
conversation,
conversation
exactly.
at the same
I
time.
agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing. But
Definitely.
I love that your sons are asking the questions, because I think that also speaks volumes to you guys as parents, that they're not trying to find the answer somewhere else when they could. I mean, they found it on
Oh,
CNN.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
could find the answer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
They're
yeah.
coming to you guys like, wait, tell me what this means.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
that says a lot to me. And I pray that our little ones do the same thing as.
And I
things
think
come
also
up.
it's very important for us to also show you guys as parents the appreciation that you're even having the conversation,
Yeah.
because a lot of times, white, Black, doesn't matter. If you're in a bubble, you choose to stay in that bubble.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
across the world, and you can be like, oh man, we ain't going back. You don't even know about this.
They're crazy in America. That's why we came over here. Crazy.
But you still have that conversation like, hey, if you choose to go back to America for college, or if we move sooner than we thought, I need my son and my family to be prepared, because we have people that are like right down the street in Memphis. They're like, oh, we're just gonna close our blinds and just not talk about it. It's gonna go away. And so I think that's very, very important. So I want to jump into you guys now. Like, how do you guys juggle everything, having a family across the world? Do you have a support system now? Like, how do you guys make it work?
So the deal was, once I began to work, we could then get a nanny. So we have a live-in nanny with us and housemaid. And I must say, we thank God for her daily. She looks after our boys, or even us in some regard.
I love that.
Yeah, she's been with us. She's a part of our family. So she is our support system on this side of the world. And then, of course, over the years, we've formed relationships with people who we don't consider friends. They're our family here. And I mean, essentially, we gather together for church. We celebrate, of course, our holidays together. So it's just a beautiful thing. And so we're all raising our children together. So they do refer to them as aunt and uncle, Uncle Heather, Aunt Heather and Uncle Mel, in this part of the world. So yeah, it's beautiful, because there are several other families here who are also on the same journey, and we're just trying to instill the same thing, within our children.
I love that. That's so cool.
Love that.
That's so neat. I feel like you guys are a Lifetime movie, but like a good Lifetime movie. One where the end is happy. I love that. Very cool.
No, good. So we'll wrap up with, I won't wrap up with this, but I have a question for you guys. As you guys are both on the trajectory of your career, and you sometimes in relationships and marriages, you have that, sometimes you have a power struggle, and you have to communicate to each other about like not to say who's taking off, but appreciate each one's. And unfortunately, I'm sure you guys watch our news, but this week the bombshell.
I think that's like a global thing.
It's a global thing. But this week, the bombshell of Bill and Melinda Gates. We're like, what?
Yes.
Not them. And then
Steven literally goes, "No, that's not true." I said, "No. CNN posted this one." He goes, "Oh, it is true."
So you also see.
I said the same thing. I saw it on the Shade Room, and I was like, "What is this?"
Exactly. And so then we followed early on Rachel and Dave Hollis, just two people that are like couples that are, of course, Bill and Melinda are a little bit further ahead, but like a little bit on a trajectory of the success. And all of a sudden it's like, you can't believe it. So how do you guys stay on the same page and continue to pour at each other and challenge each other? Because one thing that we harp on is that at the end of the day, when God made Adam and Eve came from Adam's rib cage, so the side. And so we always pressure each other that you're beside me on this and not an up and down thing. So just speak on that to us about how you guys are able to keep that climb and keep it together. And
that
also
push and the pull.
The push and the pull, and also remember you guys came first. Because sometimes we forget about it when the kids and the career gets ahead. That was a lot.
I think it's definitely a balance. And when I say a balance, I mean with regards to communication, because there have been times, I believe, I mean, even when we were dating prior to marriage, your career, I would think, took off and he was always traveling and, going from place to place and being promoted. And there again, I was just at entry level, within my career. So it was more so, me supporting him. And then once he saw the traction picking up for me, he's like, "Okay, babe, like I'm here. I can."
So Zach was like, "Oh, she got that juice too. Oh, she got it."
and so he held it down. Stay at home dad, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey.
So I mean, and it's been that there are some days, and I mean, you're playing mom and dad some days. If I have calls, I mean, I'm with our team in Hong Kong and Australia, and then back on calls with our teams in the US. So some days it's very late before I finish or before I even get home if I do go to the office. So I think it's just that level of balance and communication and understanding, okay, what needs to be done and how it needs to be executed. But then also we savor Thursdays and Saturdays as our two date days and date nights. So we spend time together. Yeah. We still date and hang out and do the things that we enjoy doing just alone without the kids.
Mm-hmm. So wait, you guys like each other? Is that what you're saying?
We like each other?
You actually like each other?
No,
yes.
Maybe,
we love each other.
Maybe a little bit.
I love that.
I love that. Thursdays and Saturdays. So those are untouchable days.
Untouchable days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We may rest in a few of them, but we
may lay in a few hours together.
Yeah. That sounds like heaven to me.
Sounds like heaven, because one thing that we've done is that, almost every week, our Saturdays we'll do like a date night. It doesn't mean we go anywhere, of course, with COVID and everything. And so now our daughter is always like, "Y'all having a date night, aren't you?" Like,
That's what they say.
So you better go to bed.
Food, and you're eating the not as good food.
Yeah. That's right.
I love it. Awesome.
But I think that's so important that our kids also see that instilled in them early on. And Adele also we have a 4-year-old and a
we have a 5-year-old.
Well, 5-year-old now.
Yeah, she's 5 and
5 and 2 now. And
come on, Stephen.
Right.
Exactly. Yes, you're right. But Adele she reminds us sometimes how important it is that she sees her mom being courted and her mom being dated and by her dad. Now, she doesn't like that she has to go to bed right on time those days, but she gets it.
She does. She does. So what is newly married couple your best piece of advice? Sorry, that's a big
we're
one.
almost 10. Wow. Well, it's funny because we were just talking about we're almost 10 years in and we were like, it's been almost 10 years.
Yes. So when did you guys get married? Because we got married in 13.
11.
We got married in 12.
12. Okay, yeah.
But I think we started out saying that marriage is what you make.
Yeah.
And that some people don't get it in the beginning, but marriage is exactly what you make it. From the day that you say I do and you go to the courtroom first and you sign the paper and you're legal, that is when it is what you make it. If you want to be miserable marriage, you probably won't realize it that first day, but that first month, you'll get some miserable stuff going on in the marriage, and you'll say, man, that's what you can make it. Or you can say, hey, we're gonna make this thing work. We want to strive for the best. We want to build a family. We're gonna lean on Christ like we always do.
Yeah, that's been the
And
main
that's gonna be our foundation, and we're gonna go.
Yeah.
Right.
And you take off from there. So I think we probably truly believe if we had to share something, marriage is what you make it.
Mhm.
You
Love
know,
that.
even in your tough times,
It
you
is.
know,
Mhm.
you got to
Awesome.
think about it and look at it and make it for the best, you know.
No, we
Working
Love that.
together. I mean, I think the main thing is banding together
Yeah.
Yeah.
and against anything and everyone. And like you all just mentioned, you know, even if the kids or family or anyone is like pulling, you know, at your energy and you aren't able to give it to one another, I think the main thing is just keeping your eyes first on Christ and then on one another, and you will definitely be successful.
So if you guys are enjoying this, definitely leave us a review. Give us the feedback. If there's something you guys want us to talk about, reach out to us on our website at themizellshow.com. There is a contact section. You can put it in there. We would love to hear about it. Or you can always go over to Instagram at The Mizell Show. Also, as always, don't forget to screenshot this episode and just add it to your stories and tag us on Instagram, on Facebook at The Mizell Show. Thanks, guys. Are you loving The Mizell Show? Well, we love you all. And did you know that you can have me and Steven talk to your team or a group of 25 of your friends? All it takes is 25 people showing up on either a Zoom call, a Facebook Live, or really anywhere. Hopefully in person sooner rather than later. But how do you get us? So all you have to do is email themizellshow@gmail.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram at The Mizell Show.